So, good afternoon, everyone present in today's session. On behalf of Smart India Hackathon team, I welcome Dr. Arpita Sen, who is Head Content Strategy, TCS Accessibility Research, and all the candidates to today's online training session. I am Ashish Sharma, your host for today's session. This session has been specially organized to help you understand the today's topic, that is ethics and social impact, which will support you in preparing better for SIH-20. With us, our expert trainer and industry professional with extensive experience in this domain. Thank you, ma'am, for joining and providing training to our candidates. Now, without further delay, I would like to invite our respected trainer, Dr. Arpita Senji, to begin the session. Arpita ji, over to you now.
Thank you so much, Ashish, and welcome everybody. Hope you are enjoying this Smart India Hackathon sessions. I'm starting the video, but my camera is it's like sometimes working is weird, so it might get put off sometimes. So yes, this is Dr. Arpita Sen from TCS, as Ashish mentioned, and based on today's topic, which is on ethics and social impact. I work for a group in TCS research called Accessibility Research, which is working around people whom we often call as people with disabilities, you can say. And we are working for making our systems and environments and everything around us accessible for them. That is our main work. So, starting today's session, let me share my screen. Ashish, please let me know if my screen is visible.
Yes, your screen is visible.
Okay, thank you so much, Ashish. So, to everybody, I hope they have this chat rights, no, Ashish? They can write down on chat.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So, just let me ask you, when we say in Smart India Hackathon, we are saying we are solving some of the most pressing challenges faced in our everyday life. So, when we say this, and whenever your people are working on the projects that you have been working on, did you ever think about or hear about this term people with disabilities? Just a yes or no. And since I'm not able to see the chat, maybe Ashish, you can tell me if the number of yeses are more or no's are more.
Yeah, you can go to the chat section, then it is also visible to you also.
Okay, but I'm sharing the screen, then I have to. Okay, so I think people are saying yes,
Yes,
yes.
yeah.
Okay, okay. And what does the first picture of a person with disability come into your mind? What is that one thing that come to your mind when you think of a people with disability? One image. One image of a person with disability. What is that image in front of you that comes? Sorry, I did not get any chat, I think. So mostly, if I am correct, you would visualize yeah, a blind person or a person on a wheelchair, right? Or a person who cannot hear, who is a deaf, right? Missing limbs, definitely. So yes, so these are the people we are dealing in today's world around us. But we think about them when we think of technology or designing a technology for them? Do we think on that? So I'll just share a short video before I start with the deck. I'll just share one short video with you. Hope the sound is there.
So this is how the building.
You can hear the sound of the video.
Yeah.
Okay.
will look. Eco-friendly design, futuristic look, state-of-the-art technology.
समाज में एक नया वातावरण पैदा होना शुरू हो चुका है।
कैसा लगा सर?
व्यवस्थाएं भी विकसित हो रही हैं।
इसको आपने एक्सेसिबल नहीं बनाया।
सॉरी सर, पर हम कहाँ सरकारी दफ्तर हैं?
Look at the new airports, railway stations and buildings of today's India. हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर देश को एक्सेसिबल बनाने निकले हैं। हम कब सी चेंज को अडेप्ट करेंगे?
सर, विकलांगों के लिए इतना खर्चा?
विकलांग नहीं सर, दिव्यांग। वही दिव्यांग जो दुनिया भर से मेडल्स ला रहे हैं, वही दिव्यांग जिनके बनाए दिए हम दिवाली में अपने ऑफिस में लगाते हैं, वही दिव्यांग जो डैडी जी के ब्रिलियंट फिजियोथेरेपिस्ट भी हैं। कोई आदमी शरीर से विकलांग नहीं होता। कुछ लोगों की सोच विकलांग जरूर होती है।
सर, I will revise all the designs.
Alright. Best of luck.
देश भर में उठी लहर है। ये है सुगम्य भारत, जहां स्किल, स्पोर्ट्स, जॉब्स, आवास, डिजिटल टेक्नोलॉजी, ट्रांसपोर्ट, शिक्षा पर सबका अधिकार है। विकसित भारत का हम भी आधार हैं।
21वीं सदी में भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था में दिव्यांग जनों के कौशल को, उनकी प्रोडक्टिविटी को राष्ट्र के विकास में अधिक से अधिक हिस्सेदार होना जरूरी है।
9 years of accessible India. समावेश, सम्मान, सशक्तिकरण।
Yes. So this is our view for country. We want to make Atmanirbhar Bharat. And when we say that, it's not just about economic self-resilience, self-reliance. It's also about empowering each and every citizen of India, right? And that includes the PWDs. They need to fully participate on India's growth story, and by promoting these assistive technologies for them or skill development programs and inclusive policies, we can transform those barriers into opportunities for them, right? And that is what is being taken care of with Accessible India campaign. So like I was asking, what comes to your mind when you think of a PWD? So these are people who cannot see or who are using sign languages, who are using braille signages on the roads, people with cognitive disabilities, people with artificial limbs. So all these answers came from you only. So these are the various aspects of people with disabilities that we are solving here. But before coming to that, do you think we are able, if we are calling them people with disabilities, are we able? Maybe a yes or no from you, please. What do you think? Are we able? If we have our eyes, we can hear, we can work. Okay, Samarth. Why no? What is that disability we have? Suppose a person who can see, who can hear, who doesn't have any cognitive disability, and still, why would you call him or her is not able? Okay. Though we are able, we still use assistive technologies, right? In today's world, we are using this voice assistants, we are using Alexa or Siri, multiple assistive technologies we use. So if we consider scenarios of a mainstream person vis-a-vis a person with disability, suppose this is a scenario where you have a low lighting in your room, or you are in a sunlight where there is a too much of glare on your mobile surface. So obviously you cannot see the screen, you cannot type anything on the mobile. Most probably when we use this voice voice assistants, or you can call a person, or you use a voice recorder kind of activities on your mobile. So that is where we behave similar to a person who cannot see the mobile screen, right? He or she is also using those technologies what we are using when we are in the sunlight, or we are in a room where there is very low lighting. So the solution for that, the technologies that have been used to solve such difficulties are, some of these are like high contrast modes. There are screen readers. So when you visit a web page, there are screen readers which would read out whatever is there on the page for you, or in the mobile screen it would read out whatever is there in the screen. So this would not only benefit a person who cannot see, a visually impaired person, but it can also help people who are in a temporary, maybe you had an eye operation, okay, so you cannot see for a timing, maybe 7 days or 10 days. So it can be a temporary impairment, it can be a situational impairment like you are in a sunlight or a glare, or it can be a permanent impairment where a person cannot see permanently. Some of other examples that I wanted to bring in front of you is, suppose a person who is listening to a recipe, okay, and that person is also cooking. So her hands are already occupied, so she cannot use the hands, right? It's similar to a person, right, who is a motor impaired person and who cannot use her hands. For them, there were technologies, those were developed for, like voice assistants or gesture controlled. Today, where you think that you are in a room, the fan is off, and you think, I want to put on that fan. So you think in your brain, and that fan gets put on, the light gets put on. So those technologies are coming in right now. We are calling it brain computer interfaces, BCIs. But does it only enable the people with disabilities? No, they are also helping the mainstream people, right? We are also using those assistive technologies. Similarly, you are in a very noisy place, very noisy room. You cannot hear any audio instructions or anything. Or students where nowadays students, when you are in class, you are trying to see some videos or reels or anything on the phone, you put on the transcripts on the phone, right? You do not put on the voice on that phone, you use the transcripts. Similar is the problem statement for a person who cannot hear, the hearing impaired, or who, the elderly people who cannot hear properly. So maybe those captions and transcripts that would be of help for both the people, the mainstream as well as the impaired person. Another would be when you visit a very complex website. So you are like confused how to navigate this website. If it's more on a time pressure mode, you're like you get similar to a person who would have a cognitive disability. A cognitive disability or a neurodiverse user, he might have this confusion while visiting a simple page also. But you act similar to that person when you are in such a situation, in a complex navigation mode or in a time pressure. You also face that cognitive overload of thinking. So simple layouts, clear navigation on your website, these are some of the things we should go for if we are creating those apps or websites on these things. So that would help both the users. This is another scenario. This is another scenario where we have a mainstream person who has broken her leg. Suppose he is similar to a person who cannot walk and in a wheelchair, or an elderly person who uses wheelchair. So that person is also using a wheelchair for the time being, for whatever days or months she has been asked to, for that broken leg, right? So adaptive input methods like voice or switch controls, these kind of things would help both these people. One more scenario would be audiobooks. So a blind person, they use audiobooks to hear, to, they cannot see the printed books, right? Or a PDF books or a Kindle book, so they use the audiobook. Similar is for a old age person, or maybe you are in a dark room, you cannot view the hard copy of a book, you would behave similar to that blind person because you also cannot see that book, right? So then there's audiobook technologies that came into picture. So what I'm trying to say is, whenever we think of these assistive technologies for people with disabilities, we created it for them only, but now everybody is using it. You say voice assistants, speech recognition, automatic door openers, predictive text that you get in Google or automated text, all those things, word suggestions, screen readers, smart home automation, like I was saying, you think and the light get put on or put off, caption and subtitles on the videos. So all these came as assistive technology for PWDs, but we all use it nowadays. So whenever you think for some technologies, you keep in mind not that person, you keep in mind the situation that you are creating it for. You don't create it for a blind person, you create it for a person, for a situation where an individual is not able to see. It can be a dark scenario, it can be glare, it can be a blindness, it can be any scenario, but you create for that situation, not for a particular person, right? So dwelling into the journey of accessibility, how it all came, it started around pre-90s, where this physical accessibility was on rise, focusing on the braille signages. Braille signage is something like go on the roads and you see arrows like you have to go here, go there. The blind person cannot see it. So these signages are in form of braille, so they can touch it and see whatever is written where they need to go. All these are braille signages. Tactile indicators are there in the roads. So driven by some of the rights like ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act in 1990, they set some global benchmarks for accessibility, and all the solutions or the technologies had to follow those acts. In next, this was called the early stage, and next came the digital era, where from physical accessibility we moved into web accessibility in the 90s to 2000s. Then this introduction of screen readers or keyboard navigation, all this came into picture. So if now you are in front of the screen, if you open a Google page, and if I ask you to close your eyes and type something on the Google search bar and then click on the search button, would you be able to do so while closing your eyes? No, right? So similar is for a visually impaired person. They cannot move to that search bar or move their mouse to that search button to click on that. Hence, this keyboard navigation needs to be there, where he knows in the keyboard where the tab button is there. Okay. So once he clicks on that tab, it goes to the search button. And then if he has a braille keyboard or he wants to use his voice command, he can put that search clause, the keywords on the button, on the bar. And then after he clicks on tab, it goes to the search button and then he says, okay. So this is how the navigation of a web page should be. If by clicking on tab, you are not able to go to each and every link or each and every page, each and every button and each and every component of that web page, then it's not an accessible page. That's what this WCAG or the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines say. You need to have all text for each and every image that you are using on the page. So there are multiple guidelines that this WCAG comes up with, and it's easily available on it. You can go and search for it. And if you're going for creation of any such web components, apps, you should keep all these guidelines in mind. Okay. And in this era, this accessibility became a part of these web design standards. Next came the mobile and cloud era, where we are concentrating on inclusive technology. The smartphones came, it introduced the voice assistants. You can magnify the screen. So if somebody has a low vision, like elderly people at home, if you see, they cannot read small text. So if you give them a laptop, maybe that small text they cannot magnify, right? there are this screens, laptop screens, where you can do it with hand gestures, but normal laptops do not have it. So they are more comfortable with the mobiles. They can magnify the pictures, they can magnify the text to read, right? So they have a low vision, they are very much used to those. There is speech to text. Speech to text is for people who are hearing impaired, right? They cannot listen, but they can hear. So there are apps which would convert the speech to text. There are accessible e-learning platforms are there. And in this era only, there was a treaty called Marrakesh Treaty that came into picture in 2013, which addressed the global book famine. So I will come to this term in the subsequent slides. And this was for the print disabled users. I will come to these two terms in the subsequent slides. One is global book famine and one is print disabled users. For now, let us just see all the errors and then I will concentrate on this era for today's call. Next was the AI and intelligence enabled era. That is the 2020s or the smart accessibility era. So here the AI driven real time text to speech came into picture. You type and it gets converted into speech immediately. Nowadays, the sign languages are also coming. You type something for a deaf user, it automatically gets converted into sign. So there would be an avatar on screen. And I'm not sure if you had seen earlier this news and all used to come on Doordarshan, where there would be an inset of a reader. There would be a news reader saying, I mean, reading the news. In our era, it was there, but you are like young people. But if you have an idea of that, there was an inset where the person was reading, and there used to be another person on screen who would say it through sign languages. Okay. So nowadays, what technology has done is there would be avatars, digital avatars, which would convert these text, whatever is written, it would convert it into sign language on the go in real time. There are computer vision for object recognition. So for a blind person, suppose he's moving around, he has gone to a new office building, suppose. Okay. So he needs to go to the conference room or he needs to use the washroom. He doesn't know where these things, yeah. And even if there are signages, it's not braille signages most of the offices would have, right? So it's written only. So there are computer vision apps that this person can use. It would help. It serves as an assistant for that. Earlier, people used to have a physical assistant with him or her. There would be somebody who would help that person go to various places. Nowadays, you can have a digital assistant with you, and this app would tell you, okay, in 20 seconds from now, you need to turn right to go to the washroom, kind of thing. Right. Okay. So these kind of computer vision or AR, VR adapted education and research, all these things are coming up. And that's where TCS Access Infinity as a platform, it has automated this accessible publishing. I will come to it when we discuss on this global book famine and print disabled users. And our future direction is brain computer interfaces, generative AI for personalized accessible solutions, and universal design for accessibility. So this is our vision. Now coming to print disabled. A print disabled person is ideally who cannot see the physical copies of prints, right? It can be a elderly person. He can have a low vision or no vision. A blind person who needs a physical companion with him, a physical assistant with him to read out books for him. It can be a braille user who uses a braille. It can be a cognitive or neurodiverse user who cannot read properly the prints. Or it can be people who are not literate enough to read those prints, but understands. Maybe if it's in voice, they would understand. So it's any person who cannot effectively read print because of a visual, physical, perceptual, developmental, cognitive, or learning disability. These people we call as print disabled. Okay. There is a famous quote, I remember, which says, books and doors are the same thing. Okay? You open them and you go through into another world through them. And access to books and other informative content, this plays a key role in every aspect of our life. You would agree to that. Be it in our education, in our employment, leisure, post-retirement, like it plays a very viable role in our lives. And a person who cannot read, okay, so most of us take reading for granted, and we cannot imagine like even a day if we are denied this information. But unfortunately it's not easy for those who are print disabled, right? So like millions of other students with print disabilities, this person is Harshesh Chauhan. He's a blind user. He faced a severe shortage of course books in accessible formats, which would have allowed him to study independently, but that was not there. And he had no choice but to rely on human readers, like who would read for him. But they were not always reliable or available, right? As he would have liked it. And this would sometimes cause him to miss important deadlines. So he comes from a remote area of Gujarat, and you can imagine his plight that he has to travel 20 kilometers 6 hours a day, one way only, to get one accessible book, which is very inconvenient for him, right? So, an estimated of around 90% of world blind population lives in developing countries, okay, with India being in the top of it. And it's observed that there is a good percentage of literacy in blind as compared to other disabilities, but there is no significant drop in education as they progress from school to college and further. And just because of this unavailability of accessible content. And as per World Blind Union, less than around 5% of accessible books available globally. In India, availability of textbooks, real-time newspapers, publications, materials, it's like barely 1%, with many of these available only in English, not even in different languages. So this is called what we say as book famine. Okay. So this refers to severe lack of books in accessible formats. Accessible formats as in braille, audio, large prints, digital prints. So these are the people who cannot access those books, and that is called the global book famine. So in 2013, this issue gained attention with that Marrakesh Treaty by World Intellectual Property Organization, or WIPO as we call it. So its goal was end the global book famine by removing copyright barriers and enabling the creation and cross-border sharing of accessible books. So this WIPO's Accessible Book Consortium, the Global Book Service, it's across the world in various countries. You can see some of these are written here across Australia, Bangladesh, Brazil, Canada, Denmark, France. Everywhere there is a consortium that works with WIPO's directives and guidelines, and they work towards making these books accessible for print disabled people. In India, DFI, Desi Forum of India, does it, and Sugamya Pustakalaya, which is supported by the Desi Consortium and Bookshare, and TCS as a partner of this Sugamya Pustakalaya, we work for them in converting the books into accessible formats. So this DFI is linked to WIPO through this treaty, the Marrakesh Treaty, which WIPO only administers. And this facilitates the creation and cross-border exchange of accessible formats of copies for people with print disabilities. This, as part of the treaty, it enables authorized entity in India to share accessible books internationally They promote compliance with the global copyright exceptions and then participate with the WIPO-led initiatives like Accessible Book Consortium, ABC as we call it. And all these came as part of our Accessible India movement. And this TCS Access Infinity platform, this developed by TCS as part of its accessibility research. This platform converts the books into accessible formats, which are like Braille, DAISY, EPUB 3, audiobooks, and this powers the Sugamya Pustakalaya. So DAISY is like digital accessible information systems. There are like DAISY text, DAISY audio. DAISY text is something like a structural digital text, which is like easier to navigate for a screen reader or for braille displays. And digital audio is like it's human narrated or maybe a synthesized audio narrated text for these people with print disabilities. EPUB 3 is also a format. It's an ebook which supports rich media features like text to speech, synchronized audio, and it's used in all this digital publishing and works across multiple devices. TCS has partnered with WIPO's ABC, the Accessible Books Consortium, to deploy this Access Infinity into libraries in developing and least developed countries free of charge. Currently, though this is a dated data, but over 6.8 lakhs accessible books in more than 19 languages are already available this Access Infinity platform in India. Here, I would like to show you a video that was created for this Sugamya Pustakalaya. I think this is the video.
नवीन तकनीकी आविष्कारों ने लोगों की जीवन शैली को काफी बदल दिया है।
Here,
शैक्षिक तकनीकी
English one, I think it's easier.
The Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities launches Sugamya Pustakalaya, an accessible online library, a joint initiative with all the member organizations of DAISY Forum of India in partnership with Bookshare, powered by TCS Access Infinity. Under the aegis of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, two empowering initiatives were launched: the Accessible India Campaign and the Digital India Campaign. To make the Indian environment, its roads, buildings, transportation, information and communication disabled friendly, the Department of Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities under the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment launched the Accessible India Campaign. Simultaneously, to expand the nation's digital footprint, connecting each nook and corner of the country digitally, the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India, launched the Digital India Campaign. At Sugamya Pustakalaya, we combined these two powerful ideas, initiating the journey towards an accessible digital India. The idea took shape as an online library that aims to provide free access to lakhs of accessible books to persons with blindness or low vision. A free login ID and password is provided to those who register. Once logged in, users can browse through more than 50 categories of books like arts and architecture, science, non-fiction, and so on. In addition, users can also access textbooks and periodicals in various languages. Books are also listed by author names. Users can also search for a book directly in the search bar. Once they find a particular book, they can either download it or add it to their wish list. Users looking for books can also request for a copy offline. There is a My Shelf section available for them. It works like a mini library that they can create for their own ease of access. This includes My Wish List, My History, My Libraries, and so on. My Shelf section also appears on the user's homepage as soon as they log in, helping them pick up where they left off. Books downloaded from Sugamya Pustakalaya are easy to use on any device, like a laptop, a tablet, a smartphone, or a daisy player. They can also be converted to Braille. Initiative is a step towards building an inclusive environment online, towards an accessible digital India.
Yes. So this is our story with Accessible India and Sugamya Pustakalaya. So what our solution thesis Access Infinity platform is about, it's about creating a countrywide ecosystem of accessible publishers and publishing. So who all are the, you can say, ecosystem players in it? There are the content creators who would create those accessible contents, okay? Houses like NGOs and all. There would be distributors of those contents, like the local libraries or the NGOs, and then ultimately the users of that content, the print disabled. So for the content creators, what we have in our platform is this AI module powering this real-time conversion to accessible content, to accessible formats. So there are books in across, just I told you, like over 19 different languages, 13 school boards, educational content is there. Competitive exam study materials are there for bank, IIM, IITs, newspapers, magazines, journals. All these kind of contents are there in that library, and it has been converted to this daisy text, audio, EPUB 3, Braille, all these formats, audiobooks, all these formats. For the distributors, there are like a list of national and global repositories in there. And we also work with Bookshare, international libraries like Bookshare in this platform. And ultimately, there are these consumers of it. They can use in this multimodal format in any of these formats that are mentioned. And the access is authenticated. Audio would be watermarked for the, obviously for the traceability of it, since we are making it free. So authenticated access means when you register, you need to have a particular UDID. You must have seen in the video that I was sharing earlier. When you register as a PWD, you get a UDID number. So that is what is needed to register to this site, because only people with disabilities should be using this. So hence that registration process is required. You all can go to the website, you can have a look at all those links, the categories and everything, but you won't be able to register or download any book if you do not have a UDID to register for it. But you can go to that website and play around with it. So these are some of the images while launching this program and all around 2016, where we partner with the Daisy Forum, DFI, and it was backed by initiatives of government like Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Ministry of Human Resources and Development, Ministry of Information Technology, and Ministry of Law and Justice. So yes, this was part of Prime Minister's Accessible India campaign and Digital India. And as we say, we combine these to form Accessible Digital India. So that was the objective. The product name is Access Infinity, as we call it. And this is the impact that it has created across India. So a collection of around 6,53,000 over books available for download now, 50,000 titles across 16 to 19 languages, almost 35,000 registered users. There are more than 200 library partners. This has enabled the availability of around 9 newspapers in different languages. 23 magazines are there. Many of the educational materials like the entrances and all the IIM, IIT, bank exams. School books are there for 13 education boards, including CBSE, ICSE, all the boards we know, all those are there. During the pandemic, the universities used this platform to disseminate books. And TCS, along with the partners, they aim to provide 1 million accessible ebooks to 250,000 direct users and 1 million indirect beneficiaries in India through a joint campaign called the See a Million by 2025. That is the aim. And this is President Daisy Forum of India, who says that TCS Access Infinity is the backbone of their vision to end this book famine for people with print disabilities. And with this, India has become the developing nation in the world to offer books collated across libraries to end users in multiple modes. Okay. This is the impact of life of a print disabled with this. These are many testimonials that people have given uh, who have gained from this platform. These are the end user who have gained with academic books or competitive exams, schools and colleges. They have got that independence. They do not need a physical person to read out that book for them, right? So that independence they have got. And there are network of libraries who have helped us to get these books from all over the multiple accessible format with ease. So previously we used to send the hard copies also through post in form of a CD cassette, and now to these downloadable books are like available. These are some of the benefits that are realized with this platform. There is a social impact for TCS, as well as there is a thought leadership in this accessibility domain. So this initiative, being a part of the Prime Minister's vision at a social level, it enables equal access to knowledge and information. As I was mentioning, this Atmanirbhar India is not only for, for people with certain abilities, it's for each and every citizen of India, right? So it brought stakeholders together to share resources to provide a comprehensive solution, and this definitely creates a positive impact for TCS's future endeavors. We have achieved many, you can say, patents and publications. There were certain awards like this ABC International Excellence Award in the London Book Fair. There was the CII Industrial Innovation Award. Multiple awards are also there around this. And we at TCS definitely strongly believe that future is inclusive, and accessibility leads to inclusion, which leads to innovation, growth, and brand experience. And journey towards this inclusion should be without any exception, right? So all towards the journey to inclusion together. That's what is the motto. And this is the man, Dr. Charudha Jadhav, who is there behind this vision and strategy. So at the heart of our accessibility team, this man is there. He heads the accessibility research and innovation at TCS. And despite losing his own sight at 13, he has provided that vision and leadership to all of us that have shaped not only our digital accessibility agenda, but our national and global standards as well. He is advisory and member for various working groups, national, international bodies. He is member of this WIPO, DAISY Forum, Payment Council of India, this Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment Initiative, Empower Conference. He has been part of this International Braille Chess Association, All India Chess Federation of the Blind. He is into the standard bodies like IEEE, BSI, BIS, RBI, W3C. So all these are the feather on his cap, and he leads us the way. I would also like to show you one of his interesting videos where he's telling about his life stories. Yeah, I'll not go through the whole video, but just wanted to show you some snippets of his life.
Many people have told us that in a way you are like the Vishwanathan Anand of blind chess. You developed it right from scratch, like how Anand has developed chess in India.
No, I think there is no comparison. I think it is injustice to even think about, closer to Anand. He's God for us. And what he has done, I don't think even 0.001% which I could contribute. Of course, when we started basically promoting chess or playing chess, people were unable to believe that blind person can play chess. So when I started playing chess in early 80s, that was the situation. From there, basically, we pursue our own game, and then finally we started promoting this game initially in Maharashtra and then rest of our country. So in a way, yes, we started from scratch, and the journey brought us here. It is a satisfying journey, but lots of hurdles, challenges, adversities, and even today, of course, we have done extremely well. I personally feel that our blind chess players has done extremely well, but if you see from the outsider view, or when you compare the blind sports, blind chess with the other sports of disability or even the mainstream sports, uh, blind chess has not got that recognition, and also a lot needs to be done. All in all, we have put in our efforts and hoping for the best.
Okay, let me start from the beginning because I also want to know something personal about you. How did you start playing chess, and also tell us the story of how you lost your vision?
Okay. So I'm not born blind. So I became blind when I was in 8th standard. So it was 13 years I was, and suddenly in the classroom, I started seeing a black spot front of my eyes. And that time when my parents took me to the doctor, he told that your child has lost the vision of left eye completely, and his right eye vision has also gone down. The cause was the retinal detachment, but why the detachment has happened was not known to us and not known to the doctor also, because normally such kind of thing happens when we get injury to eye or injury to head or high fever or something. Nothing that sort happened to me. So doctor thought that it could be from birth. It was slowly slowly growing, which I could not notice. That was basically finally. So that way, basically, I have faced this visual challenge. Now chess. Also, so I was from childhood very fond of sports. So when I was able to see, I was fond of outdoor games. So I played the cricket, the kabaddi, even football. Very good level, means even at child, and even for the cricket in Mumbai, different suburban team was calling me to play from their team. So that type of level I was playing the outdoor game. But when I became blind,
So you were sighted for how many years?
13 years.
13 years.
Yes.
And after that, you were 100% blind?
No, it was not complete. I was able to see from right eye, as I said, but I was unable to read and write. So I have to keep the book very close to my eyes, almost 1 inch or 1.5 inch close to eyes, to read the things. I was able to see what is in front of me. I was able to differentiate between male and female, which close to us. So I was able to walk alone. So I will not dash. But it's called a low vision in the disability term. It was not complete blindness, but it's a partial blindness. So that was, but my vision was kept reducing further, and then 87 I had my first operation in Shankar Netralaya. But after that also my vision started going down, and then 88, 89 I lost the almost all the vision.
Yeah, so that is the story of our leader of this team, Dr. Charudat Jadhav. And that is why he wanted to do something for people who wants to access education but are unable to. And this Access Infinity is a platform which provides end-to-end management of publication lifecycle from publishing, distribution to consumption by creating a countrywide ecosystem. And we, as a team in TCS, we really feel proud with technology innovation we have created, and that has a positive impact in life of people with disability. And it gave print disabled an opportunity to lead life independently and helping them in skill building so that they can realize their true potential and aid in national building activities. So yes, that's the story about us. Thank you. And I'm open to take questions now, if you have any. I think you can write down your questions as well in the chat. But what do you think after hearing all this? Are you ready to go for that tech innovations for all, for everyone? I mean, when you think of an innovation, you would think for everybody. In every situation, a person can use that technology. That's what you are going to think about. Ashish, I'm not sure if there are any questions. It's okay. Preet, it's about blind person. Okay, okay. Ashish, you are there. I think there aren't any more questions now. So, Ashish, you are there.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, I think there aren't any questions from the participants. So, do you want to close the call or?
Yeah, sure. So, thank you everyone for joining the today's session, and a special thanks to our trainer, uh, Dr. Arpita Senji for make this session wonderful. Thank you, everyone. So we are closing the session now.
Thank you.